Hey everyone, it's Nick, and here's your debrief for the Pcyc Open that took place this past weekend. I was sailing on the J24 Rue with Phil, Stu, Paul, and Rachel on Saturday, and we dragged Kid out of the dungeness floor that is our service area to sail with us on Sunday when Rachel couldn't make it. So conditions Saturday, the wind started around 7 knots in the morning and slowly built up to about a 12 knot average. We saw puffs up to about 15 to 16. It was pretty puffy, pretty shifty all day. Overall, I thought pressure was king. You had to get to the pressure. You always had to be in the pressure, and that's what got you the most success. There were some big pressure lines coming through, and then behind them there wasn't a lot of anything. So you could sometimes be on a very big lift but going away from the pressure, and you would get burned in the end. We were on the most inshore course, almost directly downwind from the IRC boat. So if you're on an IRC boat, we saw what you guys saw about 10 to 15 minutes later. Not exactly sure what the 105s or Maldives 20s saw, or the Etchels, as they were about a mile southeast of us, so could have been a little different, but I'm guessing it was probably pretty similar. What was happening on Saturday and Sunday to a certain degree too is that we felt like the course was a little bit skewed most of the time. It was a little bit skewed to the left, I guess, so it made for a long starboard tack out. But what was happening were these shifts, the pressure lines, they weren't coming down square to the course. They were kind of coming down more like this. And this would be your big pressure band coming down more of this direction. So what would happen is if you went out to the right, or you took an early, you short tacked it, and you started sailing off in this direction, back on port tack, you ended up sailing, away from the pressure. You kind of paralleled it for a long time. It took a lot longer to get down to you. The fastest way to get to that pressure would be to go across on starboard, get into the pressure line. And the guys who did this maybe even went only another 2 minutes further than you did, maybe even a minute and a half. Then tacked over, had pressure, and usually shift to get you across. We were very careful about when we tried to get back across to the right hand side of the course. There was a lot of big right shifts out there, but so if you chose the wrong time to go across and you took a knock across, a lot of times you lost out on both sides of the course. The guys who went right at least had some right shift to make your life harder to get across. And the guys who went a little further left hooked up into some more pressure, carried that across. There were some small lefties to take you. So overall, you had to be very particular about your timing and when we choose to get across the course. Sunday was a lot of the same, but I think on average the pressure was down a little bit. So right side was risky, but you could make it work as long as your timing is right. So if you were able to, one of these pressure bands was already down across the whole course, you could go right because you're carrying right shift in the pressure already. You're not trying to get to the next pressure line. But if that pressure line dropped out, you probably weren't going to be loving life too much. There was always a little bit more breeze on that top left-hand side of the course. I thought we did a very good job of focusing on our transitions and changing gears all the time, especially upwind. When it is so puffy, it is so shifty, you have to be on the ball about adjusting things like Vang, backstage, Genoa trim, Cunningham. We played the Cunningham and jib Cunningham a lot just to try and make sure that we either had enough power or the sails were flat enough, or whatever we needed at the time. Starting was also key. If you could get off in the front row, that's half the battle right there. Because now I can choose to go whichever way I want to go. If you have a bad start, you're probably having to go right, at least initially for a little bit, or you're fighting for a lane, or life is a lot harder. If you can get off in the front row and hang for the first 5 minutes, that's a huge advantage to you. Now if you're pinned and you actually want to go right, then you need to figure out which end of the line I want to start at so that I can execute that game plan. But being able to get off front row, you know, it automatically puts you ahead of somebody next to you by 2 or 3 boat lengths, and sometimes that can be the difference between first and, you know, in a Type 1 design fleet, maybe 10th, 20th, if you can't get in on that train right. So something to focus on, something to move towards. Better starting, better gear transitioning can really help your boat speed, can really help you get up the course faster. Other than that, it was a pretty straightforward weekend. Not too much else going on. So upcoming next, I think it's Lake Ontario 300 for a lot of you guys. Good luck in that. It's probably going to be pretty cold. The lake is still freezing, which means it's going to be a lot of wind shear. It's going to be really cold at night, so bring some warm stuff, and bugs are probably going to be out. So good luck to you guys. I'm probably not going to do it, but we'll see. And let me know if you have any questions. Like, comment, share it around, and let me know what you think. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Bye.